Welcome to Monday Night on Bad Dog Comedy TV. You are watching the Sonar Network live, and we are featuring today the show, The Bed Post. Now, give it up for your amazing host, podcaster, and professional dominatrix, Erin Pimm.
Thank you so much, AJ. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Bad TV live stream of the Bedpost podcast. As AJ said, depending on where you know me from, you may know me as Lady Pimm, you may know me as Erin Pimm. Either way, welcome to the show. So excited to do this live stream with you tonight. I like this nice early evening time. I'm almost 40. This is perfect for me. So I hope it works for you too. Wherever you are, quarantining in your condos, maybe you're in the bathtub with the laptop beside your bathtub. That's kind of hot, right? But for today, what we're going to do, I've got a lovely guest coming up, a fellow podcaster, and very sexy human as well. But before that, I do want to let you know that for the live stream, the best part about these live streams is that we actually have a chance to interact throughout the episode. So by all means, if you want to throw a comment over on the YouTube there, comments, flirts, requests, reasonable requests, but questions. Today we're going to be talking about sex stuff. We're going to be talking about podcasting because we're both podcasters. We always end up talking about some aspect of sex work, so that too. Same with kink. We always end up talking about kinky stuff. So if any of those things kind of inspire some questions from everybody out in the audience, then feel free to type away. That said, I would love to welcome my lovely guest for the early evening over to the live stream. We have, this lovely person produces Hackateur, which is an amazing comedic live show, which has received 2 iHeartJoke Awards. And as I mentioned, they are also a fellow podcaster. The podcast is called Sex Show Radio. Please welcome to the mic, everybody, Lucy Gervais.
Oh, this old thing. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh my God, it's so my absolute pleasure. When were you on this podcast last?
3 or 4 years ago.
Long time. Long time.
People could be in the same room legally. I believe it was in the basement library. Oh my God, am I not supposed to say where your studio is?
Oh no, you could give away the behind the scenes. No. Yes, we used to go downstairs in this very condo into this weird library because the sound was good down there.
That's what you got to do. I believe someone walked in partway through and they did not stay very long.
They don't usually.
I was like, can we mic him? I'm sure he has something to say.
Sir, yeah, do you have anything to contribute to this conversation about anal or whatever?
Sure, what are you reading? Which book are you grabbing? Is that a board game? How many people you got up there?
He's like, I'm just gonna let you be. That's what we used to do when we used to record down there. We used to just be really brazen and intimidating and just give them energy to be you need to turn around, walk right back out that library door.
Just emanate confidence.
Yeah, you just
cower with fear.
Exactly. That's kind of my whole jam. Oh, looking amazing, loving the necklace. Daryl, thank you for tuning in, my dear. Daryl, Therion Major says hello. I love that I have people, like sexy people from the Twitter sphere, like dommy, kinky, weird, freaky people. Not to put a label on you people, but you're all freaks, freaky deekies.
We got some freaks up in here. I like it. I'm here for it.
Would you? Exactly. I mean, we're all gonna have a lovely freaky time. Would you, Lucy? Would you consider yourself a freak in the sheets, if you will?
I'm a freak in the sheets and in the streets. I can't. Everywhere I go,
Can't get away from
work. I'm a freak. I just like hanging out by myself. I cannot de-freak. The freak flag is flying rather high.
I love it. Or as they say on Drag Race, we were just talking about Drag Race pre-recording, let your freak frag fly. Which is maybe one of my...
Let your freak frag.
Frag fry. I'm like, great, we don't need another take of that. It was perfect.
Yeah.
So Lucy, podcasting. You're new to the podcasting game, are you not?
Brand new to podcasting, and it kind of shows. Not gonna lie, it's been a learning process, but it's been so much fun. I really love my podcast. I love my podcast host, J. Mark Kaplan. He is amazing. He's actually the person who started the show. It started off as a live show.
Yes.
And the theme was sex storytelling.
Yes, love it.
Yeah. So he would book comics. I was actually on the first one, and I did his makeup for it. He looked really good.
I don't doubt it.
Yeah, I have skills. So it was booked, but also it was it had an open mic aspect to it. So if people wanted to just tell a sex story, they would be putting their names in a hat, and then the names would get pulled. So you had a mix of like seasoned performers,
but also audience members just getting up and seizing the day.
Exactly. And because of COVID, and one of the producers of the show actually wound up getting like stuck in Vietnam because of COVID. They went there for a vacation and then got a little more complicated.
Oh no.
Yeah, like he tried to do another live show and then the second lockdown happened. So we were just kind of chatting because I'd been on his show and I liked his show and I was actually supposed to like be on another one, but it got canceled. And he was like, oh, I wish there was another way to do it. And I was like, well, what about radio or like storytelling? There's lots of storytelling podcasts. Like, well, what if he did something like a sex storytelling podcast? And he was like, oh, ooh.
Oh, maybe.
Oh,
okay.
I think he got a little like half chub at the idea.
Yeah, a little bone. Yeah, just a little one.
Yeah, exactly. So he does like 100% of the hard work, which I absolutely love. He masters all the episodes. He's a naturally great host, such a fun person to work with. We have a really good chemistry. So it's been fun so far. We've gone through a few platforms, but we are on Spotify and Apple. So
amazing.
you can listen to us.
The Sex Show Radio Podcast.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
No, that's what it is.
Or some of those words in a different order.
The Sex Show Radio, which is a podcast.
Which is
parentheses at the bottom.
A podcast.
Yeah.
So Lucy, okay, if people ask us questions here tonight on this day, do you think you are qualified to answer some sex questions? What might qualify you to give some sexy advice here tonight?
Well, I have had sex at least once.
There you go. I mean,
dare I say at least a dozen times. I know. Whore alert.
Oh, yeah.
Put them in jail.
Yeah, lock it up.
Put them in horny jail.
Mm-hmm. Get in the horn corner. The horn corn.
I'm qualified because not only do I have like I have a sex life, or not right now, like not today, or like the past 2 or 3 weeks, but I've
you have in the past. You've been
I've had sex lives, at least 9.
Reincarnated, just again and again.
I'm on a sex hiatus because of the world. Like I can't date right now, really, realistically. So it is what it is. But also, my comedy has dabbled quite a bit in sex, and my podcast revolves around sexual experiences and stories, and everyone is qualified to have a sex story. But I also have a bit of experience in the sex industry.
Oh, you too?
I know.
Ooh. I know.
Who would pay for that? No, I'm.
mean imposter syndrome. You're speaking to me. Oh my God.
That's
Half
like
the
the
time
best
I'm like,
part.
who wants to even see? I don't know. Yeah.
That's like something that's so great about the sex industry is like, who would pay for that? Lots of people.
Everybody. Something
Lots
for
of
everyone.
people. Exactly. It's like if you really if the world of sex work is done properly and it's not something that's like looked over by like overlords who are like deciding what is and isn't beautiful and all these like really problematic aspects, it's really liberating, not just for people who are doing it, but for people who are paying for it.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Not only do they love it, but they want to pay you for it. That's
Exactly.
like that's a very empowering thing. It's a very lovely thing. Like I was, honestly, yesterday I was having kind of a shit day. I was struggling in a couple different ways. And then that just happened to be the day where, I put a photo set up that was on sale. So I had a couple of those sales and I was great. That feels good. But then somebody else who was just following up from like months before was like, oh yeah, I wanted to buy like a lot of porn from you. I was wondering if I could do that today. And I was like, suddenly it's a great day. Suddenly, look at that. My whole day has just turned right around.
Turned it around.
Turned it
That's
around.
amazing. That is a good day.
It was a good day. Yeah. But
Well, I'm glad to hear it.
yeah, so in what aspect, if you don't mind talking about it, in what aspect of the industry are you kind of involved in then?
So I've been camming on and off for a few years.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that I kind of not like struggle with, but like
Camming's hard.
it takes a lot of energy.
Big time.
A lot of energy, and it takes a lot of smarts, right? And I have those.
Savviness. Business savviness,
Exactly.
yes.
What you need to be a successful comedian, you also need to be a successful cam performer. So
Yes, that's a great. Okay, I love this conversation because you're from the comedy world. You're comedy world and you're from the sexy world. So I love to hear how they're related, how one kind of influences the other, and vice versa.
content, promotion, branding, connecting with fans, connecting with viewers. And so sometimes I find I take breaks because I go like, I should be focusing on my comedy. I should be taking some of the energy over here and focusing on my comedy. So I also have like a day job pretty much all the time. So I usually bounce between like boring vanilla work and then the sexy world and then the comedy world.
Yeah.
So but also I feel like sex as just like a topic is so present in my life so often because when it comes to writing jokes for me, I tend to just go in that direction because it's fun, because it's humorous, and because there's so much you can do. Like, I wouldn't say my jokes are sexy. Like, they're not designed to like turn people on, but it's kind of like fun to go into that taboo world. I can't help
Definitely.
it. I think that's what makes me qualified to have this podcast. Is because I kind of can't help it. You know, I always
It's a
like
part of your identity. The sexual expression, need for sexual expression.
exactly. And the more comfortable I become, and the more I learn, and the more because there's times where I'm like, oh, I got to get away from sexuality. It's so this, it's so that. It's warping my mind. The more you know, like oh, I'm getting too far. I'm getting too far
Down the rabbit hole, like
becoming my whole personality is this and this. The more I kind of grow and mature, I always kind of go back to it, but with a fresh mindset. And I love that. And so as I get older, I'm like, there is less and less and less to be kind of the shame and like all that negative stigma kind of like goes away. And like the world changes a little too, but it's more of like an interpersonal change.
Yeah, definitely. So, okay, so that said, Lucy, it looks like we've got a question here from the audience. So, all right, Oh my God, it has improv in the question. This is perfect. This is so perfect. Okay. My wife wants me to talk dirty in bed, but I have never taken an improv class. Also, mainstream porn is no help at all. Any ideas where I can find a script or something? Side note, we are very meat and potatoes in the bedroom. Meat and potatoes. Some toys, a blindfold, not many kinks. Okay. So dirty talk. Help. So let's talk about dirty talk.
You know, I think that dirty
Are you a good dirty talker?
I am.
Yeah.
I would say that I'm a good dirty talker, like pretty decent sexter, but an even better in the moment talker. And I think about so much. I'm like, what is the psychology behind, like, you really have to unlock your brain and like tap in to like a stream of consciousness that is connected to the sexual part of your brain so that you can just keep kind of going, right? I think the problem is people tend to overthink and stifle themselves in their head, and they're like, your titties are so fat, kill me with them. Like, like so weird. It makes no sense at all.
I like that. I liked that.
More and more saying if someone is like sexy, I'm like, oh, they could like decapitate me in my sleep.
Therion says yes, and he wants to know more about these fat titties that kill you, I think. I
can't say more, but I am dead. And my head got crushed by those fat ass titties.
They killed you. No, I think you're definitely onto something there, though. It's about being present in your body, like being grounded in your body, so that this isn't happening, this overthinking thing and like second guessing thing and like third eye thing where that's a performing thing where you're like literally watching and judging and critiquing yourself as you are doing the thing. So like the more you can kind of more get in your body and kind of connect, make the dirty talk flow out of you, just like your sounds, during sex, and just like other ways you're expressing yourself sexually with your body, like when you're having sex with somebody, like try to just tap into that whole part of it if you can.
Yeah, like being in the moment. Something we talk about on our podcast a lot. One, buttholes, like constantly. I don't know how every conversation ends up being about buttholes. But two, breathing. Breathing is so important to being in the moment, like breathing deep down. And on our last episode, we actually chatted quite a bit about, you mentioned the third eye. We talked about chakras, like aligning those chakras and like bringing breath into like every part of your body. I know this doesn't sound like it's about dirty talk.
Yeah, this is a tangent, but important and related. Like this is like the foundation of, being able to be a good, Yeah,
this is the foundation of being present in the moment and kind of being less inside your head and more into all the other parts of your body. And I think that is what really contributes to good dirty talk. Also, like focusing maybe like slowly on one part of the body or another. So if you're doing a bit of foreplay, and let's for an instance say like you're playing with your wife's pussy, if you're just like, oh, baby, I love your pussy. You feel that little clit right there? I love that little, I can't wait to put my mouth all over that. Like taking every little like muscle or like flap, for lack of a better, nicer, sexier word, like just finding all the things you just like love about every little nook and cranny and verbalizing it. And like a script, I wish there was a script.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Handed it to a few people by now. Been like,
but on that note, like, is there a script? On that note, like, by all means, my favorite thing to tell people when they're asking about dirty talk is like, okay, ask them like a couple phrases that they really want to hear in the moment. Like beforehand, ask them. Be like, what are some phrases that like at the moment you would like love to hear? Or what's like a way that you really want your tits to be described? Or like what's something that you really want to be called? So like, there's not a script, but you can ask for like these little tidbits of information that during sex, then you can suddenly like pull out these things that you've learned and memorized essentially like a script. You know what I mean? Like, because I don't know, I'm very like an audiophile. So like for me, the stuff that people are saying to me is really impactful to how I'm feeling sexually. You know what I mean? Like I want to hear a very specific thing, like at a moment. You know what I mean? So if you do relate with that, then like ask the other person if they have things like that, or tell them yours. Be like, hey, this is, oh, we've got a thing here. Okay, great. Therion says, I've literally asked partners, what are your favorite words? Ba-da! Exactly.
I agree. I think that picking the right words is great. Like you are right. A bit of a script, like in terms of what one person wants to hear. You can't find that on the internet. You have to talk to your partner about that, find out what that is. But some of the most popular words, I think number one is cock. For some reason, everyone just gets hard
Everyone
and
loves
wet.
the word cock, yeah.
Everyone loves it. And then I think the more intense you get into the sex session thing that you're doing, that's when you can like get a little dirtier, right? Dirty talk should like progress. So you start with cock, and then like 15 minutes later, you're like at cunt, and you're just like at like oh, you've gone up the mountain, okay?
Yeah.
You're up the sky.
Definitely. I love that. Yes. And yes, for everybody who happen to be, maybe you're just tuning in now, we love to take questions. We're going to give some like sexy advice. It can be about like kinky shit, about sex work stuff, about sex stuff. We would love to hear your questions, and then, try to think of like some fun advice for you. So by all means, please do that. And thank you to the Duke 1204 for that lovely question about dirty talk. I'm wondering, okay, our producer right now, AJ, Jonas, you are an improviser, are you not?
Yes, I am. Hello, hello.
Hi, AJ. Welcome to me just lassoing you and bringing you into this conversation. Do you have any thoughts on, like, since you're an improviser, how that's related to, like, dirty talk?
Oh, it's interesting, and maybe I could use some advice here myself, because although I have like a big stage personality, as like most improvisers do, I find at home and an extension of that in bed, I'm quiet. I'm a very quiet, like internal person.
Yeah, a little more meek, like.
Yeah, I don't know why. You know what? I don't know if it's because I'm 5'4", I'm a little tiny person operating in this big world, or what. But to point this in a specific direction, the question is moaning. How do I get it out of myself in a way where I get out of my head about it and not thinking about
your own sounds.
About feeling like, oh, it's so performative, it's not natural. Like, how do I get it out of myself is my question.
Oh, that's a good one. Do you
It's
have
a
any
very
thoughts on
real
that?
one.
No, it's a very, you're like, this is not a made up. This.
Oh, no.
Love
I'm here
you.
for a reason.
I love you for it. Yeah. You asked to produce this episode
I specifically
on Bad
requested,
Dog TV.
please put me on the bedpost. I have questions.
I love it. Do you have any like initial thoughts about that, Lucy, when you hear that? Self-conscious about your own sounds and how you can.
Yeah, I guess when you get self-conscious, you kind of weirdly manufacture sounds. It can have to, I think it has something to do with maybe the environment you're in sometimes. Like if you have an apartment where you're usually worried about sound, AJ, is that like part of the deal for you?
That's a good thing to bring up.
Because if you have like solid walls and you got nothing to worry about, just let it out.
You know, I've been told the walls are solid, and I think I do trust it.
Okay, cool.
Okay,
So that's
so
not
this
part of it.
is-
But
yeah.
that's a good thing to bring up because some people just don't want to make sounds because they literally shouldn't, like can't, roommate situation or whatever. Yeah. But I'd be interested to start this like with yourself, doing your own thing, one-on-one, some solo play with yourself and playing with it that way. Perhaps that might be a good way to kind of step into this before getting comfortable doing it with a partner. Because I feel like a lot of sex is like, you have to know your own body first to be able to inform the person of what to do when you're in a partner situation. You know what I mean? So I feel like that might be a thing that you could experiment more like with self-pleasure and play with your sounds and play with just play with just like being comfortable hearing them, perhaps, and be comfortable doing them and finding a way that feels authentic to you. That might, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that might be a good place to start doing it by yourself.
I agree, and I'm going to piggyback what Robin is saying. Have fun with it. If you're going to like get used to your own sound, don't be afraid to like actually like laugh or make yourself laugh or get a little like silly with it. Because the more you get comfortable and the more you realize, oh, it's not that serious. And if you're with a partner who's worth being in bed with, they're not gonna be like, oh, you make a weird sound, I'm out of here. They're gonna probably make weird sounds too. It's pretty normal.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've heard turtles have sex, but whatever you sound like is gonna be
better than
that. So
that's a good
you
point.
have to set the bar too high.
I'm also going to piggyback on what Janet said. I'm only going to say that too because you said Robin for me. I'm going to say that if that's something that you're particularly self-conscious about with a partner, maybe you could tell that to your partner and be like, I would love some like encouragement about my sounds. You know what I mean? If that feels good to you. Because if that's something that you're kind of, feeling a little awkward about, if the other person is like, ooh, I just love your sounds right now, or like, just let it go, baby, or like anything, you know what I mean? Like, I just, like, my favorite part was hearing you do this or hearing you say that. That might, like, boost your confidence about it a little as well.
It's so funny. Well, two things. What he actually does do that, so I think
that's nice.
I'm gonna have to step up on my side, and I'm not too upset about that. I need to step up my game. But the other thing is, I do have fun making those sounds like on stage. Like I could do it right here and feel totally comfortable. It's
that's cool. That's interesting.
I see Lucy just. Okay,
your mouth is writing checks that your ass better be able to cash. Because that's how we could end the episode, or we could do it like literally right now.
Okay, I'll throw one in here because
Oh, this is my like favorite episode ever.
Yes.
It's just that and it kills on stage, and I'm sure it would kill in bed. But
it's killing right now.
Is it killing right now? I'm glad. And it's just like, I guess you guys are right. Like, if I can have I use the fun that we have, like in moments like these, and just bring that there, and then maybe that'll help it come out more organically.
Or I mean, I'm a kinky person too. So like to me, one of the things that comes to my mind is like create a game around it. Like, maybe you have to like, maybe he'll only go harder, or he'll only go faster, or he'll only put more pressure when you give him some sounds. You know what I mean? Like some little sexy game that like, you know what I mean? Like only when you're really letting loose, like with the sounds, will he give you blank, whatever it is. Will he let you have an orgasm? Like, you know what I mean? Something like that. Some little fun thing. Ooh, Therion says, that's the point where I can relax and it's all fun and sexy games. Yeah, when you're just like having fun. You're laughing. I'm a laugher. Always.
I am too. I'm a giggler.
Everywhere. In every situation.
That made fun of me for it. Like
that you giggle when you're getting fucked?
Or are you like playing with a cootie catcher? And I'm like, both.
A little bit of both.
Why not both?
Yeah, totally. Oh, I love that. Okay, yes. So thank you, AG, for that. Maybe that'll help you. I don't know. Maybe not.
Thank you.
Maybe it'll make things worse.
Maybe it'll make things worse. In which case, we're not liable.
Can't do us. We're not doctors.
No, we're certainly not.
If things come worse, then I'll just ask to be producer on the show again, and we'll talk about it.
And then we'll have a follow-up appointment. Yes, okay, I appreciate this.
Also, I wanted to mention I am also 5'4".
I'm 5'3", basically, so we're all around the same.
Short people
Shotties.
got no reason to live. I
world
didn't
is
just
not
make
made
it
for
up. That's
us.
a song.
I'm like, are you okay, Lucy?
Yeah, I guess. That was so convincing.
Yeah, I guess. Okay, so what I wanted to do with you, Lucy, because we have a, in the interim, if someone wants to ask a question, by all means do. We'd love to answer it. But in the interim, because we have this like visual medium doing Bad Dog TV, I know you know a lot about sex stuff. I know you probably know a lot about sex toys, but I want to try and stump you with some weird sex/kink stuff I have. I want to try.
Okay, I'm excited for this. I did no research ahead of time, so we'll see.
Let's see. Okay, let's start with oh my god, I'm so indecisive. Let's start with this.
Okay, so a suction cup to me indicates it's supposed to go on a window or the surface of a shower. Can you show me the other side? Can I see the suction cup? Okay, so that's definitely like to mount it from somewhere. And the toy indicates to me something. Now, it looks like it has a sucker, which I don't think it's an anal device because I don't think, but it looks like one because it's like smaller and it's ribbed. It doesn't really need the indent. Can I get a closer look at the little hole at the tip? Boa toys. Oh, God.
Yes. So I'm going to, I'll give you a clue by telling you what the toy is called.
Okay.
It's called the Femme Fountain.
The Femme Fountain?
Yeah.
Is it a bidet?
That's a really good guess. It essentially is, but think of how, but it's a sex toy.
So it's a clit sucker.
It's
the spray.
Yeah. So it's water pressure. It's like a bidet, so it is squirting water at you.
Okay.
But it's like a concentrated stream meant to go on the side of your bathtub, and you just line her up.
Spray wherever you want.
Yes, spray it. It's a very direct, there's like, a couple different settings. It's a very direct stream.
It's a fucking bidet.
It's a bidet. You were right. It essentially is a bidet.
This is so whose line is it anyway?
Yeah, props.
I love it. So I got it. Like, that's considered getting it?
You got it, Lucy. Full points.
I'm so proud of myself.
Full points. Okay. So this thing kind of has two uses.
Love it.
Yeah.
So wait, it's fly tape and a dildo? This is what it looks like.
It's leather.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And then we have this on the end here.
Okay, so
I love
think
the intense look of concentration on your face is fantastic.
It looks like a dildo, but I am leaning for butt plug because of the tail, because that is a very common, very popular sort of sex toy trend, especially with people who have like a BDSM relationship, is that they want something hanging out of their partner's ass for them to accidentally trip on.
They do like that, don't they?
That's what they want. So, but it looks really big for.
Oh, okay. So Therion, Therion is venturing a guess. He's saying dragon's tail.
I think it's pretty close. I don't think the trend has landed towards the front yet, where you have tails in the front of your genitals. I think
in your front hole.
Yeah, I don't think we're there yet.
So
think
that's
we're
your
pretty
final
close.
answer.
I think Dragon Tail is pretty much right on the money.
Okay. So what it actually is an impact implement. So it's
A
like a
fucking
kind
whip?
of, yeah, it's a kind of whip essentially.
Damn.
I'm like hitting myself in the face. But Lucy, you're onto something because the handle on this is made to be insertable. So this toy
Clearly,
can
not-
be used. Yeah, clearly,
Yeah.
right? So this toy can be used as an insertable dildo.
Mm-hmm.
But primarily, it's actually an impact implement.
So does this am I considered stumped? A nice mop.
Mike Mongiardi
I don't know. If nice.
says.
I don't think that's gonna mop up very much. You guys never had a job.
That man has no calluses on his hands. I say you get half points for that,
Okay.
Lucy, because you got the dildo portion of that.
I think my guesses are getting pretty close. It did
Yeah.
give me a lot of tail, but also it makes perfect sense. And it is tapered, so I think it could be insertable either way. I think you'd need a pretty,
Loosey-goosey
yeah.
experience?
I know my name is in the phrase, but I am not nearly
That's not
wide
fitting.
enough to handle that.
This is by Bohemian Craft Works, by the way. Gorgeous piece by Bohemian Craft Works.
Check out their Etsy.
Check out their porn Etsy. Artisanal.
Yeah.
Okay, I've got another fun thing here. You can see my ring light a lot.
I love this. I think it's meant to spank. It's got the little leather strap on the end.
It does, yes.
As someone who has knife skills, you can't cut anything with that.
No, you don't think?
Well, can you show me the blade a little bit? Yeah, that's not sharp. No, it's very blunt. And I think it's I'm confident that, but then you're fucking with me with.
I am fucking with you.
It's for spanking.
It's a paddle, yeah.
Okay. Jesus Christ.
It's a paddle it looks like a meat cleaver. That's just the design, right?
That is so cute.
I was trying to stump
like
you with
that. It's really funny. And I have a meat cleaver tattoo.
Oh, then you would love it. Oh, that's
I do
beautiful,
love it.
Lucy. Yeah, this is by Glutton for Punishment, which is a great
That
name.
is an amazing name for sex toy makers.
Totally. Okay, maybe one more before we launch into some other. I mean, I think you're gonna get this one, but maybe not. Maybe not.
Oh yeah, I don't know what the official name for it is, but it's like a teasing.
What do you do
toy.
with it?
You put it on a dick, and it doesn't let it get hard.
That's exactly a chastity cage, a chastity device.
It was on the tip of my tongue.
That one was so easy. I'm gonna give you another.
I mean, I've seen memes that have that
Exactly.
in it. Where it's like, oh, check out my new pasta strainer.
My new I know that meme. Yeah, that was
My new
great.
pasta.
Or wait, the somebody did a separated egg yolk with it.
Oh yeah.
But Lucy, what in the world might this be?
It looks. It's not a pair of headphones. That's for damn sure. It looks like it is supposed to stimulate internally two people at the same time. Yeah, it looks like something that's really, really versatile for internal stimulation. It looks like you could do a lot with it.
You could do a lot with it. Yeah.
And you could probably stimulate the same person in two places with it.
Maybe, yes.
Am I even a little bit close?
You're the most correct. These are two vibrators. This is by Pico Bong. And yeah, there are two vibrators that are just attached could be a double ender situation with two people, could be two holes in the same person, could be internally and externally. You went through all of the options perfectly. Very impressed. Theorion says 1 or 2 player. 1P, 2P.
I hope that person does improv. I hope that they do some kind of performative arts comedy.
He's a DJ, actually. DJ. Music producer, DJ, and industrial person. He likes to build shit.
I love that, because not every comic, not everyone who has a sense of humor needs to do comedy. They can just be people. And
they can just be a funny person. Yeah, a clever, funny person.
Exactly.
So, okay, you mentioned, Lucy, that you do bring sex into your comedy, like sexual content into your comedy. Do you bring comedy into your sex? Like, tell me more about that. Playfulness,
Well, I think personality has a lot to do with what makes people attractive. And I used to segregate those parts of me so very much. I think that it's just part of trying to take who you are as you get older and make it whole. So now I find that people are more attracted to me when they know that I have a sense of humor, and it's just charm. That is part of being attractive, is also being charming. If you're like the most gorgeous person on the planet, but you're not that fun to talk to,
what are you good for? You're good for looking at.
Yeah, and some people do want
do
that.
Fine, yeah, and do fine with just that, yeah.
Exactly, but it gives me something else to do and to offer and to be. So I find in terms of my relationships, it really pulls people in, and not just me being like, I'm a comedian, I'm so funny, but actually just like being able to have like fun and be funny in conversation really helps. And it also, in terms of, I guess if you're going to go back to like the sex industry, in terms of trying to pull in like clients, they want a more personal experience, and they want people who can carry conversations and be more fun and like kind of stand out. It's kind of like part of the secret to like making people fall in love with you and then giving you their money.
And then taking the money.
Yeah. And then you just are, it's a joint account after that.
You share a credit card now.
But showing people like, yeah, there is something special about me that's not quite like everybody else. I mean, at the end of the day, everyone is actually different.
Everyone's special. Yeah.
Everyone's special. But knowing what makes you kind of special, and then like really knowing how to like seamlessly present that is it's people skills and across the board. It's something a lot of people who contribute to the stigma of just like general sexism and misogyny, but then when it gets more specific into like slut shaming and being a sex work exclusionary person, swerfs. We don't like swerfs.
No, we're not.
I'll skip the swerf and turf, please. I didn't order that.
Yeah, send it back.
They forget that there are actually skills at play when it comes to
so many
skills.
As you mentioned before, it's like to do all the stuff that's like building a brand, like, doing all your self-promoting. Like they're all entrepreneurial skills, like people skills, like being able to volley, being authentic. Not only just like, also just like looking good fucking is a skill in itself. Like, I don't know if some people have fucked in front of mirrors. Sometimes it's hot. Sometimes it's like, okay, well.
Sometimes you're like,
I thought I looked better. Like.
I'm gonna actually put this blindfold on the other person.
Yeah.
They don't.
I'm just gonna really quietly just gonna put it on you. Yes.
Yeah. People think that all of this is like rooted in self-hatred and low self-esteem and like hating yourself. And it couldn't be further from the truth.
Yeah, I agree.
Like consensual sex work and sexuality is all about connecting with who you are and applying that to making yourself stand out in a saturated market.
Especially now, super saturated.
Borderline capitalism, honestly.
Unfortunately, yeah.
But
Yes.
at the same time, you have this like, it's like anti-sex work is built into capitalism. Because it's like it's a free market, except you whores.
Except all you whores out there.
All you whores who made all these social media platforms what they are today, you're
Yes.
not allowed. We're going to let white supremacists have their platform for years and years to come, go uncensored.
Yeah.
But if you're pole dancing at a strip club and you upload a video of it, you're done.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Not
really,
okay.
yeah, it's really insane right now what's happening with censorship
Facebook.
of sex.
It's Facebook at the root of it all.
Yeah, because Facebook owns everything. So
It's
yeah,
all
it is
everything
Facebook.
now.
Yeah, it's that
And Mark
fucking
Zuckerberg-
Mark. Yeah.
He literally created Facebook as an app to rate
bang
girls on how
chicks.
hot they are. And now that every hot person is like, well, hey, you know what I'm going to do? Mark is like, I don't want you to do it because, let's face it, capitalism
Tell me. Let me know.
is
Let us all know.
influenced by the right wing.
Yes.
It just is. And the right wing tends to be the side that is more, anti-sex work, misogynistic, blah, blah, blah. I mean, you see it from the middle and the left as well.
Yeah, it is everywhere. Like Sesta
Yeah.
and Fosta was voted on unanimously. Like, even your favorite politicians voted for Sesta Fosta. Like, like even Bernie, like they all unanimously voted for Sesta Fosta. So it's sad. It sucks. I know your face was just like,
Yeah. And good.
you could not hide how you felt.
No, I'm not good at hiding how I feel. In general.
I mean, you
Like-
must be good with making sounds in the bedroom then. It's an asset as far as I'm concerned.
I just let them out. I'm not really that afraid of weirding people out because if they do get weirded out, I'm like, fine.
Be weirded out.
Weirded out, I'm
Doesn't
like,
affect me.
yeah. I'm like, what am I gonna do? Change for that? I think we're getting a bit too set in stone at this point
Yeah.
to do much about it.
Where do you source that? Where do you source that? You feeling very confident sexually? Where'd that come from?
It came from, I guess learning how to not be hard on myself in general. It came from a lot of places. So it's not just in my sex life, but it's in like other parts of my whole life. It's like the more comfortable I became in this regard, the more it also contributed to here and here and here and here. So I think being a comic definitely helped. And then sometimes there's a lot of like social pressure when you're a comic, but let's just say like the actual art of it and just being like, I'm going to say whatever the fuck I want on stage. And I'm confident that this is going to work and that it's funny, even though it's kind of crazy. Some of the best sets I have are when I just do not give a fuck.
Yeah.
And I'm throwing it and I'm just like, this is funny. This is exactly how it's supposed to be. That confidence is such a hard thing to get a handle on. You cannot fake it.
Yeah, I think it's just putting in the reps, like whatever it is that you're feeling self-conscious about, it's just doing it more, and gaining the experience so that because it's much easier to feel confident with something that you know what you're doing. Somewhere in doing something that you know exactly what's up, right? Like it's really hard to go into a situation that you've never been in before and feel confident. Yeah. So when a lot of people like ask for advice about sex stuff, it's like, I know it's kind of a non-answer, but honestly, the more you do it, the better you'll get and the more confident you'll get at it because you're getting better at it. But you got to practice. You can't just
Yeah.
you can't just manufacture confidence out of nowhere. It's doing stuff again and again. It's putting in the hours like you would do with anything, with a sport, with, you know, whatever business venture, with different types of art, with like anything. It's the same thing with sex.
Make
it's the same thing with
mistakes.
like relationships, you know what I mean? Like how you really get to be like a really good communicator and stuff like that. It's all just practice. It's doing the thing, it's fucking up, figuring it out, working through it, finding what works for you, and that's just comes from from trial and error, baby.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly. Just like being okay with making mistakes and also like learning from those mistakes. And like sometimes you should feel a little bit embarrassed, but like also processing your emotions, like being a functioning person in the most literal sense, where your emotions are functioning with your goals and your ambitions, and like you're feeling things properly and you're like connected to your body. It's like forget everything else for a second. You know, forget the pressures of the outside world and just like thinking in terms of like your physical self and breathing. That's always comes up. I started breathing better, and it helped so much. It helped me be mindful and in the moment.
Breathing is how I start every session, like with a client, like when I was in-person sessions doing kink work, like that's how I start every session. After we chat about like, what would you like to do today? You know, limits, boundaries, like all of the safety conversation. Okay, we're ready to start. Okay. Then we start breathing. That's like the way I start every session, to just get them to drop in their body and like go from this headspace to like, you know, this headspace.
Totally. It's so important. And, you know, I used to have such a hard time getting out of my head, and just like that horrible cycle of like fueling your negative thoughts. Like therapy helped me with that quite a bit. But also like you will forget what you were in your head about if you can just pull yourself into a more physical sense, out of just your head into everything else. You'll be like, I don't even remember what I was anxious about, what I was insecure about. Also, making fun of your insecurity is so important.
Yes, that self-depreciation. Yes, definitely. Yeah.
Don't just like completely roast yourself. Being like, you're so fucking stupid.
Just negative affirmations.
Exactly.
That's what I would recommend. Just telling yourself you're an asshole. Just
You're
complete
so
dick.
Stupid nugget. So terrible person.
Terrible person.
Just the worst.
Just written on your mirror, so you see it when you wake up. Yeah.
I'll be like, oh, just the worst. And like, is just like, wow, I'm saying something so ridiculous and in a really stupid way. That's like finding the humor in it a little bit. And also like remembering that like everyone has these problems.
Oh yes, yeah. That's the other thing about giving advice. It's like I'm not an authority on literally anything. Like I'm a complete fuck up essentially, but we all are, and that's what like binds us together, you know, as a human race. Like we're all struggling. You're not alone. People feel struggle with their confidence in sex. People don't know what they're doing in sex. Like everybody does feel that way, and we're all just like doing our best, trying to navigate like all of that stuff, you know.
Totally.
Give yourself some slack.
Exactly. Egg slackly.
Slackly.
Egg slap me.
Egg slap me. Could be a kink.
Always enjoyable, Lady
Hi there,
Pink.
Catsuit says, always enjoyable, Lady Pink. Thanks for the fun listen. Oh, yeah, so we should. Thank you. Thank you for tuning in. We're about at wrap-up time. If anybody wanted to sneak in a question right at the end here, by all means, go for it. We'll answer it real quick. But Lucy, do you have anything, like you mentioned your podcast, of course. Is there anything else going on in your life that you want to tell the people about? I mean, nobody's doing anything. I know. I mean, there's that, but
I have a cat. I cook a lot.
What's your cat's name?
Cat's name is Rockwell.
Oh,
He's amazing. He's like He's the biggest cat ever. He's like this big. He's orange, and he needs to be held like a baby like 4 times a day.
I love him.
Yeah, he's the best. He's actually sleeping on my couch right now. He's been very good this whole time.
That's
You
so
might
sweet.
have heard him meow at one point, but he is he's chilling. So in quarantine, I went vegan and I started doing a lot of vegan cooking.
Nice.
So I actually have a cookbook, which is available through personal sale. It is $10. I believe at this point it's 27 recipes,
Wow.
all different kinds. I have a vegan chowder that is made instead of with clams and seafood. It is made with nori and mushrooms, and it's insanely good. So if anyone is interested in expanding their like recipe repertoire,
Their dietary horizons.
yeah, exactly. I started trying to make and sell vegan fudge out in Montreal, which has
Oh
gone.
my God.
I figured out how to make vegan fudge. It is really good. It is really fudgy. Like I was trying to make chocolate
And made fudge.
oh, this is legitimately fudge.
I love it.
Yeah.
Oh my God, good for you. For me, like since we're talking about the mindfulness kind of thing, I do teach a class that I'm reprising at the end of the month on wellness domination. So this is like, you know, a lot of what we're talking about, honestly. And I taught it once, it was really popular, so I'm bringing it back. So if you missed it the first time, I'm doing wellness domination through the Ritual Chambers online platform on January 25th. So that's coming up kind of soon. And yeah, I actually I've done a bunch of consults with like different like mindfulness wellness professionals. So I just had my last one today and just learned a whole bunch new shit that I'm going to tack onto the class. So I'm really excited about that.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's going to be real fun. Like, yeah. So where can we follow your podcast, Lucy? Tell us again what it's called.
Okay, so it's called The Sex Show Radio. The Instagram is at The Sex Show MTL. And if you have a story that you would like to submit to our podcast, you can send us an email at thesexshowmtl@gmail.com. And we accept written anecdotes. We also accept recorded voice clips. So we can play them live on the air just with the click of a button, or me or my co-host can read your story in our own voice. And that would be awesome because lately it's been a little slow on the stories, but that's okay because our guests are super interesting and we just love kind of telling our own stories and chatting. We also do our show over Zoom. Mm-hmm. So we record it over Zoom and then we master the episode and then we release it. Mm-hmm. So if anyone is interested in, at the very least, like sitting in and watching the show and then ever working up the courage to tell a story on the day, they can totally do that. Our Zoom link is always in the bio of our Instagram.
Perfect. And do you want people to follow you on your personal medias?
Yes, I do. I want everyone to know who I am. So this is my Twitter at the Lucy Gervais. I also have an Instagram. It's at the Lucy Gervais Show. And they would be the same, except Twitter, when they ran out of, it was 4 letters too long.
Wow. I thought you were going to say because your shit gets deleted because it's sexy stuff, which happens to me. I had the bedpost like across every platform, but because my accounts get deleted every few months, then those names go away. And then now they're all fucking different.
That's such bullshit. I can't believe they would do that to you. Do they know you?
How dare they?
Do
they know who I am?
They should.
So that said, on Twitter I am at the Lady Pimm one, where I'm most definitely most active out of anything on Twitter. But if you
fun,
right, yeah, it's the one where we can actually talk about sex shit and not worried about getting booted off. So, but if you must go to Instagram, we're at the Bedpost Show. And at the Lady Pimm on Instagram as well. But if you want to email me about the podcast, we're thebedpostsexshow@gmail.com. If you want to ask any questions, have a guest suggestion or anything like that, or you just want to tell me that you're a listener and you love me, you can do that. We have the Patreon. It's the Bedpost Show on Patreon. Sexy content on there, but also solo episodes as well about just like, I don't know, sexy shit, I guess. But I put up my classes on there too, little audio classes. And then my YouTube page. We're on Bad Talk TV right now, but Bedpost has a YouTube page as well. It is the Bedpost Sex Show on YouTube, so feel free to check that out. And then last but not least, I always want to thank the lovely lady that has done all the original music for my podcast. Her name is Stephanie Copeland. So if you're listening to the recorded version after this live stream, you'll be hearing music from Stephanie Copeland. And then, Lucy Gervais, thank you, my dear. This has been such a lovely conversation. So nice to retouch, after the
just
fucking
just
little retouch, little Photoshop edit.
All the flaws, honey.
We should not waste. We should not spend so much time in between having you on as we did last time.
I would like to talk to you again sooner than 4 years.
Yeah, please. Yeah, can we? Yeah.
So busy.
I know. Oh, just so much to do right now.
Yeah.
And then, of course, I want to thank AJ. Thank you for your question, AJ. And thank you for being our lovely producer on Bad Talk TV tonight. Thank you to everyone who's watching. Thank yous all around, everybody. We love you. Get fucked. Bye.